welcome to Talking with Famous People. I'm host Zachary, we have host Eric, we have Patrick, we have Tavis, and we have metasoap in the chat. And I am responding to her comment. She replied to me on the To Pathologize Eric's video, where we've been having a lengthy discussion on feminism. And she asked me, what does equality mean to me, and what needs to happen now, if anything? Um, so to me, equality would be political egalitarianism, where we view each individual in the society as politically equal. So they have the basic human rights, they have civil rights, they have equal access to opportunity. Um, every entity should be viewed equal in that regard. And Tavis asked me just now, should there be the same restrictions? And what do you so define restrictions?
Well, when we're talking about equal rights here, really when I said restrictions, what I meant was, making it so that they can't harm the other person. But in that same thing is if I have equal rights to another person in order to practice my religious belief, if my religious belief is to kill white guys named Zach, do I have that right?
No, of course not.
So therefore, is it truly equal rights?
Yeah, sure it is. I mean, you have the equal right
Because
insofar as okay, the right a right is that which confers a duty upon another. And so there's two basic rights. You have your negative rights, which is your right to not be imposed upon, and then you have your positive rights, which are contractual. Those are the only two rights you have. And a negative right, your negative right would be your right to non-violation, right? And if that was transposed or transgressed upon, then they would have the liability to that, not you.
okay.
And that extends, and so my personal view is that should extend toward businesses as well, right? So
So
in our
so business.
go on,
Go ahead.
no, go on, go on.
No, I'm
Well,
I'm I'm waiting to hear how you explained.
well, I think that businesses should have the same. I think they should also be regarded as legal entities. I don't think they should have any. I don't think they should have any obligations socially other than I think corporations, businesses should have restrictions on environmental regulations. I think there needs to be some environmental regulations there, such as and Eric and I would argue about it again, but I still think there should be some sort of systems by which restaurants are held to make sure they're safe and shit like that. I think there should be I think that should be a government system that's in place, but
That is,
I don't
I
think there should
thought
be
that
any
was a
social
government
responsibility for
system,
businesses,
isn't it?
right?
So if I'm understanding what you're saying correctly, which I may not be, so if I'm not, stop me.
Hmm.
By that same sense, then, is the business allowed to not offer services to a person because they do not agree
Oh yeah,
with
absolutely,
that particular person?
absolutely.
So if I don't want to let a black man shop in my store because he's black, I should be allowed to do that.
Yeah, I think businesses should have the same legal rights as the individuals.
Okay, so let me give you let me throw this at you. Okay, I have a service dog. His name is Nike. I could actually get him in the picture if people want to see him real quick because I talk about him. But yeah, anyway, so I have a service dog, and it is federal law that the only place he cannot go with me is a sterile operating room because he is classified as a piece of medical equipment. Now, service animals, or particularly dogs, are one of the very, very, very unclean animals in the Muslim belief. That dog is necessary for my well-being and my functioning. Should a Muslim person who owns a store, if I go into their store, be allowed to deny me access because of my physical need for that dog?
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think that businesses should have any restrictions, any social restrictions. I think they'd be assholes, and I think in our age of social media that they should be torn to shreds for restricting service to individuals like that because I feel it's unjust. But should they have the right to? I think so, yeah.
Right? There's remedies in the status quo. That if in fact somebody's doing something wrong, the best solution is shine a lot of light on it. and they'll be held accountable and be shamed by the community as a whole.
Hmm.
True, true.
And the in response to the what needs to happen now, if anything, what needs to happen now is I just want there to stop being I don't think there needs to be any pushes towards anything else in progression for individual rights. I don't think we should try to compensate for certain individuals. Like if you have a certain minority status, you should get extra access to opportunity, or you should be if you have a minority status, you should be restricted to opportunity or anything like that. I don't think that should be in place at all. I think that should be left alone. I think we should view each individual as a legal entity and treat them as such equally under the law. And I think that that's I think I think that's pretty much sums it up. So that would be my response to your two questions, Medicine.
Interesting. Um, yeah, the whole feminist thing to me, I see there as being because I put a couple videos up about feminist stuff. What shows up in my recommended videos is a bunch of these like anti-feminist people who are like what's his name? Asshole of what's his
Sardon,
face? Yeah,
Sargon of Akkad.
yeah. I mean, look, I respect a certain amount of assholery. I
I like
understand
it.
that there's
From what I've seen from his channel, I like him. So I don't
yeah,
co-sign his
okay, fine.
opinion.
I respect. Like I say, he's doing it well. He's finding bad ideas to critique, and I respect that and everything. But I think the mistake lies in this grouping thing again. Like that there's now, granted, I was just at a college campus, and I understand that you guys have different experiences on college campuses than I do out here in
Yeah,
the.
man. Like that's the thing.
But don't generalize. Don't generalize out from that college campus experience and think this is actually some sort of social wave that's threatening people with anything. I
It
don't think it is.
definitely is. It definitely is. It definitely is. There definitely is a cultural trend of this sort of like these like microaggressions, this political correctness where people are afraid of.
On campus, not in the world. Yes,
Actually,
Tavis.
I would say that those microaggressions, unless you were joking, are very much in the world.
What do you
Well,
mean?
I agree they exist, but I'm saying that getting called out on that shit, like in the way that is objectionable, where they're
Okay.
saying trying to police how you talk and stuff all the time, that doesn't actually exist.
Yes, it does, and I can tell you right now, in the area that we live in, and Zach might be able to attest to this, that happens a lot.
It's because it's a college.
No, no, no. I'm not saying at the college. I'm saying outside the college. You say one wrong thing to somebody, and they're going to police you about how you talk.
Yeah.
Your skepticism collapses itself. Metasoap's throwing out this whole like there's no truth thing. Well, then that sentence is nonsense, right? Skepticism collapses under itself. I don't know how else to put it. It doesn't work. It's not a strong argument chain. It's weak.
So
You know what I mean?
I have a question for Zach on his businesses denying people access because of they don't want to. Would that apply to things like hospitals?
Mm. That's an interesting question. Um, well, I think ideally in my ideal society, there would be both a public system of healthcare and there would be a privatized system of healthcare. That's why I think that I
I
think
would
that
say no, it doesn't apply to healthcare. Because when you take on that job, part of the duty you're agreeing to is to prevent death, right? So if you say, I'm not going to treat black people, and the ambulance has to divert from one place to the next, you might cause that person's death. To me, then you've engaged in professional negligence that makes you civilly responsible, and you've engaged, because of the nature of the job you're doing and the duties that are implicit to that, you've engaged in some sort of manslaughter as well.
um, before we get off the feminist thing, I think there definitely is a sort of you're right that if you're attacking ideology, you should attack the sort of the the ideas that they're presenting and attack those, and then from that you would be able to dismantle the ideology in and of itself, right? You're right in that. I
Yeah, I
agree.
don't like the grouping thing. We want to find enemies all the time.
But
It's
when you
not
have,
enough that we think the ideas about. We gotta say, well, it's these people. It's the feminists. It's the whatever. It's the whatever.
but I think there's a certain push in our society now where it's like if you or um definitely a lot of celebrities do this shit too, where it's like if you either are a feminist, you believe in equality, or if you don't believe in equality, then you're somehow like oppressive against women. And then from that the side of that extremist leftist view like that, they say stuff like the wage gap myth, and they say things like women are overrepresented in STEM fields and stuff like that. They are underrepresented in STEM fields, but it doesn't imply some sort of like patriarchal discrimination systematically to keep women down below men or anything. I don't think that's the case at all. I think that I mean, even when you have the president saying stuff like the wage gap and shit like that, and it's like if there's when the president, like, you say that it doesn't matter overall, and I hear the argument a lot that it's just on college campuses and stuff like
That's
that.
just stated.
Go on.
Just statism. That those things are. See, if you want to talk about a group, talk about statists, and you can identify them because they're always justifying their violence with nonsense.
Reading it.
Statists will cross on any sort of lie that justifies their particular flavor of violence. So if you're a Democrat and you want to flavor your violence with liberalism, you're going to grasp onto those lies about how we need to pass laws regarding this and that and the other thing that relates to that. And if you're a conservative flavor of authoritarian, then the opposite. But it doesn't matter. It's all just statist lies. It's all because people are trying to scramble to find ways to justify their preferred flavor of violence.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah, I definitely think that I think that's why, because of that, I think that's why federal government should not have much extension over their influence on governments and individuals and stuff like that.
Okay, so to the whole private store idea here, okay?
Hmm.
Say I live in an area that is fairly small. There's only one or two stores in the area, and I'm asthmatic. And it just happens to be there's only this one store that sells what I need in order to in order to continue breathing, because it's not in the public healthcare situation. It's not publicly owned. This guy can deny me access.
Hmm. I say you should get the fuck out of that area.
That's not always that easy, and you know that as well as I do. If you look at the culture we live in right now, if people could afford to get out of here, you wouldn't have half the people in the state that we do.
Perhaps. But I mean, I don't, I don't get so I see what you're saying, and there is possibility for injustice to be there, but in a specific circumstance like that, like say you needed something from a store, if you just give me the money, I'd go in and buy it for you. Like that situation would be easily fucking resolved that way. But if I just don't think business should have any social responsibilities. I don't think that's the government should have any right to impose on that.
See, and I would say for privately owned businesses, honestly, as much as I'm arguing against it just for the fun of it, I would agree with you, personally. um,
I think that's what see. Part of me wants to. I see what you're saying, and there's a part of me that agrees with it. But I feel like I have to follow along this line because it's the most logically consistent one, and I'm not. It kind of goes all against my personal values. I don't think, to clarify, I don't think anyone should be denied service because of their skin color or because of any fucking thing, right? I think
Racial
that's
ethnicity, sexual views, whatever, all that.
yeah. I don't think that should. I don't think that's a thing at all. Especially public services. If something's a public service like marriage, I don't think that should be denied, even regardless of what my own views on it are, right? But I feel like it's most logically consistent to follow this sort of libertarian view of individuals as legal entities, and then it extends to their own property, which would be their own businesses and private businesses, stuff like that. So that's where I'm arguing from, is basically that the system that follows through from the negative rights framework, because it's very hard to argue against. I learned that from Eric. Fucking Eric beat me over the head with that shit until it's like ingrained in me now, and it's hard to argue against. That's why I'm fucking utilizing it.
Wait, can you read this back and forth here in the text out loud? Because I'm busy typing.
So reading the text. So Messup said, or host Eric said, "Is this a point that is open debate? Can we establish who was right and who was wrong or not?" Messup said which state. Davis said Kentucky. Eric said the nation state. Messup said Yan. To host Eric, wrong right is boring extreme version of SJ. And Eric said right. So then why should I take what you say seriously? You don't want to parse the issue. You don't want to resolve it. Patrick said, Zach, you were at TI Dom, confirmed 100%. I guess that's because of the framework thing, right? Um, your typing is loud, host Eric. That's what sucks, host Zach. Host Eric was boring to begin with. Host Eric said he wants to sling stuff but not defend it. What am I to make of that? Sub said, now you're echoing his sentiments. Well, I mean,
And things just got real.
if someone's sentiments outdo mine, and I perceive them as more logically consistent, I'm going to adopt them. Like that's just how I
They're
am.
not sentiments. They're not sentiments is the thing. The sentiments are sentimental.
MS
It's
is
not my
dodging
sentiment. It's not
debate.
my idea. The negative rights model is not mine. I didn't come up with it. It's one I ascribe to.
I would say, yeah, that's. I'm increasingly more convinced that's the one I ascribe to as well.
Hmm.
Because it
But
makes
what about my
logical
text
sense to
here?
me.
What's going on with the hostility? The undefended hostility.
Extreme sentimentalization, Metasub says. SI inferior grabs and promotes. So that's in response to, or I suppose that's the explanation as to why I would adopt the framework, right? So I would perceive it as I would sentimentalize it. Is that what you're saying, Metasub? I do want to apologize though. I feel like saying some. I feel like I came off too aggressive in the comment section on that other video.
I,
Like,
I don't know. I didn't really get that vibe at all.
wait, did you see the comment section of that video?
Which video?
So Metasub and I have been
Oh,
like over.
not today, not today. Okay,
Oh
I
yeah, no. Over the past day, Metasub and I have been like conversing back and forth about feminism, and I have some pretty strong views on feminism. Then I'm still open to change, but I'm arguing from the position I think is right until that's destroyed, right? I have to do that because that's the only way I can completely actualize the sides. So like it's my FE. My FE has forced me to say this right now, but I'm sure you understand. Like it's nothing. It's not personal. Like it's not a personal thing. It's just I have to. But it definitely there are sides though. Or Metasub said they're not sides. I have to read off the chat because the chat's not the thing Metasub. But um, I think there are sides. That's not the whole problem.
she said that is the whole problem.
Oh, that's the whole problem. That they're not sides. I think there are. It's what creates us and them.
But there
Sides
are
of
circumstances when one has to be prioritized over another. Values are not always in coordination with one another. Sometimes they conflict. Which one should we prefer becomes the only significant question in that context. All these statements I just made are unavoidably true.
Metasub doesn't create new ideas, but then that's implying that all discussion should be dialectical, right? I don't think all discussion should be dialectical.
Please define
Just
dialectical.
Dialectical is like it's sort of it's like there would be the thesis and the antithesis, and you would argue to create a synthesis of both of those,
Okay,
and then
cool,
the
cool.
synthesis would be the new thesis,
The,
antithesis. Yeah,
the philosophical framework of discussion.
yeah,
Look,
dialectical.
dialectic still resolves things.
It does. It
What
does.
what Minnesota wants is not neither rhetoric nor dialectic. She wants an unresolved pile of mush.
If we don't evolve, we exist in entropy. Yes.
But you do evolve through the idea of thesis and antithesis. Or maybe I'm misunderstanding what you're saying.
What I'm saying?
No, what MS is saying.
Oh. Because mush allows free movement. Cement equals swim with the fishes. Patrick says free movement are wrong ideas. I wish there was a way I could put the chat in the recording so I don't have to read this shit off.
Can't you just put it within the camera where the camera's recording?
I tried that and it doesn't come through. I think it views the Oh wait a minute. Yeah, I can. What the fuck? No wait. Okay, wow. If I take it out of the if I separate it as a window, if I isolate the window, it won't come through. Oh wait, no, yeah, the chat doesn't come through. Even if I put the
If you were to do a monitor record instead of a window record, it would work.
That's what I'm doing. Yeah, it's not coming through. Like for some reason the chat is
Oh, really?
invisible. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if that's if they do that so like I'm not sure why that is.
Maybe it's seeking a private. I mean, this is go to me. Maybe it's seeking a private discussions behind your boss's back or something.
Yeah, there has to be something to do with that.
So, I mean, here's the deal. The fact is, we have public policies. Some are better and some are worse than others. When we have public policies, we have to make determinations about that sort of thing, right? Like, if I passed, there was a law passed that said everybody who wears, a checkerboard pattern on their shirt gets stabbed in the face.
Well, darn it.
I
Well,
don't think I'd be down with
Zachary would be fucked, and I'd be pissed.
that.
You know? And we have to say, well, it's a bad law. They
Why
have
is
some
that
sort
always
of
done?
reason for saying that, right? Our debates about public policy, they require us to provide reasons for why one way is better than another. It's simply a matter of fact. So if we are going to have those kind of discussions, then one person has to be right and one person has to be wrong. When there is a plan being proposed, let's do X. There are two choices. We either do X or we don't do X. There may be a third choice as well, depending on the nature of X. Well, let's do X with some modifications. Okay? But you have a finite number of choices. And they're not all equal.
So effectively,
So some people are right and some people are wrong. It's unavoidable.
So effectively, the only thing we can do is compromise.
Well, what if the choices are this? Well, let's murder the toddler. No, let's not harm the toddler. Oh, let's compromise. Let's just torture the toddler.
Let's move. Yeah,
That's
I guess that's a really easy way to show like why the these sort of compromise or synthesis isn't always the best course of action. It isn't the way to approach an issue always, right?
Right. We have to establish some sort of guiding principle that allows us to come to determinations about these sort of things. Right and wrong happens whether we try to avoid it or not. We can try to avoid right and wrong forever, and the people who make the stronger arguments win. If they're allowed to make the arguments in a fair forum.
Who decides
what the system doesn't allow that? Who decides what's right and wrong? Well, the strongest arguments do. The ones that withstand the most scrutiny.
So, to go back to an earlier example, because Hitler made the strongest arguments, his arguments were correct.
His arguments were shitty.
What arguments did
he made shitty arguments.
What arguments did he make that you're saying?
The whole thing with the German master race and things like that, and he convinced people to believe it. Therefore, it would have been a stronger argument because believed by more people, wouldn't it have?
That's not how we determine the strength of an argument.
Okay, cool. How do we determine strength of an argument then?
Well, it depends on the argument, right? You got to have the argument. But the thing is, what happens is the people who subvert this process are the ones who use violence at some point. So the Nazis, they didn't just make good arguments. They went and they burned down some building and blamed it on the socialists and lied and deceit. See, an argument doesn't allow for lies. It doesn't allow for. I mean, if you're lying in a fully transparent argument, you'll get called out on it, right? In a real public discourse, an open public discourse, if you're saying, if we Well, I got called out for not knowing whether those rape tests were real or not, and I had to say to the metasoap in the comments, I had to be like, "You're right. I don't know. I didn't look into this. I could be wrong about that. My bad. I retract any claims. Thereby retract my claims about that." I was compelled to do so because she was right. She called me out. I didn't know. I didn't research it at all. I just said, "It seems ridiculous to me," but I didn't actually look into it at all. So she was right to call me out on it. That's called discourse. That's how it works. Bullshit gets called out.
Hmm.
It's a good process. It's a healing process. It heals me of wrongness. It will heal you of wrongness too if you allow it to happen. If you fight it all the time, it won't.
Patrick said, "You said they are not applicable. What's the applicable option? Don't worry, take your time." He's referring to
You,
metasoap.
you,
Go on, Tavis.
oh, okay, never mind. I was gonna say you might want to read back, but you covered it already.
Oh yeah, well,
So,
so basically, um, metasoap is saying that you can't run real things using any of this. It's syntactical and that it's not concrete. And then Patrick is inquiring more and asking metasoap to elaborate on how we could make it concrete, right? What the ideal way to transition from syntactical to concrete would be. But to get kind of meta for a second, this is why I like talking to people so much because it feels like an infinite philosophy course. That's
see,
what
I
it,
love that kind of thing.
yeah, it's this what wait, this whole discussion is about meta bias or meta blah.
See,
Discuss a
what
situation.
we are here to discuss hypothetical situations. We're not necessarily here to discuss news coverage.
Well, I think if she's referring to real concrete examples, I mean, I elaborate on a lot of that stuff, Metasoap, in those comments. Like, what are you exactly asking me to provide? Like, the study of 1 in 5 people are raped on college campuses is faulty. It's based on 2 universities with a broad definition of rape. There's so many variables that it just can't. It's just a faulty study. You do not have a 20% chance to get raped if you go to university. That's just simply untrue. Even the worst countries in the world with rape statistics don't have it that fucking high. That's ridiculous.
And the problem is
Based
too.
I
Okay,
based
do
on what
know
I'm,
that. Oh my god.
real quick. Sorry, Eric, if you don't mind. To MS, one of the things too is you have to understand that with those studies, there is typically some form of bias agenda that is being pushed.
Exactly. That's my point. Like what Tavis said. Like there is it doesn't have any basis in reality. The study it may have obviously girls are raped on university campuses.
But
Definitely.
so are guys.
But with that too.
Now, girls are raped more than
that's
guys, but
irrelevant. To me,
Yeah.
that's irrelevant. But go
yeah, it
on.
is. It is. Go
But
ahead.
it's not there is not a 20% like the that is based on one study that is subject to it's fallible because it's based on 2 university campuses and they're making generalizations about the entire university atmosphere across the entire country. Plus, they use a very broad definition of rape.
That
Like,
last part's the most significant thing. Nobody's disputing that certain kinds of sexual assault are bad,
But is it rape?
so, but they're not all rape.
No, see,
what's interesting to me though, just to the Titus, this is sort of related. When you look at like countries like Sweden that are complete pots of multiculturalism now, that have like mass
go
immigration
back.
from immigrants coming from North Africa and the Middle East, and their sexual assault rates go way up. The argument the leftists use against that is that oh, it's a broad definition of rape, right? It's a broad definition of rape. Migrants don't actually rape that much, right? It's not actual rape. But then when it comes to university campuses and 1 in 5 women getting raped, that's not a broad definition of rape. That's rape. It's like if this type of illogic is what has pushed me from being a liberal to sort of like I guess now I would identify as like somewhat libertarian, but it's like that this kind of like it's just complete rationality. Otherwise, say let's see. You said okay. She said if you can provide a better study, you can say it's wrong. Offer a different correct set of numbers. Otherwise, say you think it's wrong, not it is wrong, it's not fact, it's opinion. Um,
Well, no, actually, if the definition of rape includes things that objectively are not rape, then his critique of it is accurate, and we should discount the study. That's one of those things where we have a clear binary choice. Should we discount the study, or should we consider the study valid?
metasoap,
In,
okay,
in our calculus in making a decision, right? That's the thing. We have to make a decision one way or the other in factoring in this particular piece of data into the conversation as a whole. That's why a dispute needs to be argued out. It's the only way to resolve these things.
Metasoap said sexual assault, not rape. Rape is a type of sexual assault. It's true, rape is a type of sexual assault. And 1 in 5 people may get sexual assaulted on those 2 university campuses that they had their data pull from, right? But that's not what the feminists are arguing about. When you have the President of the United States saying that 1 in 5 women are raped on university campuses, that is blatantly false. That is not true. And it misleads people. It misleads people into thinking that if you don't accept that study, you're somehow misogynist or you somehow are against equal rights, which is exactly what they're arguing for. It's complete horseshit.
Well, I mean, fundamentally, we're talking about a dispute between intentions and means and ends again. We're talking about means and ends. So there's a certain percentage of the population that believes that if the cause is just, the means don't really matter as long as we get there. And then there's a certain percentage of the population that says, if the means are just, it doesn't really matter what the end is because we know it's been fair and we've treated everybody equally. I'm on the second team. You might be on the first team, but what you can't be is on no team, which is what a lot of people try to be. You're either on the side that says, yeah, we're going to determine this based on ends, and we'll justify our means that way, based on the justice of our intention and whether or not our goal is laudable, or we're not going to justify our behavior based on that.
Metasoap said, what is the impractical issue of people being misled as you think? Well, one of the practical issues is that if a young male goes on campus and ends up having drunken sex with another girl, and then she says that he raped her, and then he has to go the rest of his life having he has to register as a registered sex offender, and that ruins his fucking existence because of a lie like that. I say that's a pretty significant issue. Plus, it only silences the real victims of rape, using such a broad fucking definition of it. If you were forcibly kissed while you were drunk at a party, you were not fucking raped. And implying that you had the same experience as someone who was actually held down and raped, that's insulting. Yes, Mesoap, I know it's sexual assault still, but it's not rape. That's not what they're arguing for. They're not arguing that 1 in 5 women are sexually assaulted. They say 1 in 5 women are raped. That's the same thing that they're arguing for. Plus,
Okay.
if you're drunk at a party and someone forcibly kisses you, I don't care who it is. I mean, they should be held liable for that, right? You don't do that shit. But they shouldn't be have to register as a sex offender because of that shit, or be disqualified from their studies, or be kicked out of the university because of that. Personally, I would find forced kissing worse than rape. What the actual fuck, Metasoap?
Okay, first of all, what is forced kissing? Is it I'm going to hold your face here and you're trying to squirm away, I'm going like this, licking your face or something? Or is it like, oh, I'm going to try to kiss you and you don't like it and you turn your head and I kind of get your cheek a little bit and all of a sudden that's forced kissing and I'm really embarrassed and awkward and, oh, I'm so sorry, I didn't mean to do that. Is that forced kissing?
That's a microaggression.
I mean, that's a tough thing to exactly define. Okay, nobody's
Exactly.
disputing that the latter kind of forced kissing, where you're literally like holding somebody's face and licking it or something. Obviously, that's I mean, it's funny, but it's awful.
Yeah.
I mean, it's awfully funny too, but not something that anybody would actually do. I can't imagine. And if I saw somebody doing that, I certainly would intervene. And I think most people I know would intervene if they saw something like that. If some dude with some drunk chick at a party and holding her face and going, "I'm going to kiss you," Somebody's gonna, he's like, no, don't kiss me. He's like, yes, I gotta force you to kiss me right now. That's not gonna happen, is it? I don't think so. I mean, it
I
probably
think the
wouldn't happen
argument a lot
that
of these
way.
girls use is that they didn't want to be with the guy, but they felt obligated to kiss him,
I
and
don't
it was
think it's an
like,
argument that girls are using, though, Zachary. I don't like that angle of it. Like
well, then how the fuck is
this,
this thing counted
there's
as
this
sexual assault then? How are
well,
we using this
I
as a
mean,
legitimate statistic? And it is
but
seen as a
that doesn't
legitimate
mean the
statistic.
girls are complaining. It doesn't mean the girls are going to the cops and saying I was sexually assaulted because that guy tried to kiss me and I didn't want him to kiss me. I turned my head and he accidentally kissed my cheek part way. Girls aren't going to the cops over that shit. Chances are, if they're experiencing something, they're gonna complain about it. Then they're probably experiencing something real. They're not gonna go out of their way to complain about shit
No, but
usually.
the statistic,
The,
the study like
go ahead.
that's been read off, the 1 in 5 women are raped in college campuses, stuff like that. Their definition of rape, they're interviewing these young women and they're telling them that things like that if they
Well,
don't explicitly say no, it's rape, and that means any type
if
of sexual behavior.
if they're interviewing them and setting it up like that, then obviously it's nonsense. But that's
That's
not the
exactly
point.
that's
The
exactly what
point
they're doing
is
though.
the point. But are there actually girls out there who are randomly accusing people of rape all the time? It makes the news often enough that I would say very infrequently. Otherwise, it wouldn't make the news.
I don't think it happens frequently now, but it's something that's used to support ridiculous statistics, feminist myths like that.
Well, I mean, yeah,
But they
I
don't
agree.
say
It's
no,
used.
metasoap. That's the thing. They end up making poor decisions like that, and then they regret it. But it doesn't mean they were
It's on a
raped.
case by case basis. It's on a case by case basis. That particular element is on a case by case basis. It totally depends. Sometimes it's the dude who's being fucking a douchebag, and he deserves if he pushes it. And if he's ignoring her saying no, then obviously whatever occurs is some form of assault. Whether it's sexual or otherwise irrelevant, it's an assault on her person. Okay. Now the sexual nature of it seems to be aggravating factor in this culture, and that's fine. But the point being, it's assault.
Okay,
But
can I
there
make
are
a
other
statement?
instances where it's not so clear cut.
Excuse me. Due to the fact I think, and yes, I understand, heated arguments are good, but I do not think we are getting anywhere in this discussion.
That's fun.
Well, where do you think we should get? I mean, the thing is, I would like to reconcile certain of these things by agreeing that, but not everybody agrees that that's a good framework to use.
Maybe what I'm trying to say is certain people in everybody, not necessarily everybody in here, but maybe everybody, we seem to be getting heated to the point of it no longer being civil.
I think,
Really?
yeah. Wait, really? Yeah. I
At
think
least
we're
that's
being
what I'm
civil.
saying.
What are we doing that's uncivil?
Well, the audience can't read the chat conversation like we can.
So it was
I've
metasoap's
stopped reading
underrepresented.
it. I don't know what she's saying except when Zach says it out loud. So I don't know if that's getting uncivil in there or not. My
Metasoap
basic
said,
position is,
host Zach, you're treating women like princess dumbasses. How am I treating women like princess dumbasses?
well, you're saying if they get drunk and have sex, then they're gonna go and say, "Ooh, I was raped," but they're not really gonna do. They're
Oh
probably
my
gonna
god, that's not
regret
what
it.
I'm saying. I'm saying the study that the feminists use to support claims such as 1 in 5 women are raped, that they use that super broad definition of rape like that. That's my
Okay, I
point.
agree with you on that. I'm saying that's how she interpreted it.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
I didn't say that, but now I'm saying that. I'm going back and re-saying it differently now. I'm saying it the way I just said it now. I think that's a conclusion one might feel from it, that in fact there's an implication that girls are prone to blaming their mistakes on somebody else, that maybe they don't actually have that tendency, and I think you're fair in saying that you didn't make that claim, and that claim is being inferred from positions that are neutral and that aren't. This is the thing. To me, these positions are all neutral. For some people, in any conversation, some of the positions may be things they're attached to. So for me as an ENTP, when I get a really good cue from somebody who's got FE higher in the stack than I have it that we need to tone it down a bit. It may take me a second to stumble along into this little speech right here, but hopefully this speech right here reconciles the fact that some people do hold beliefs to which they ascribe strongly, and they also have areas of topics that are, they feel more strongly about than others. So, yeah, that's my...
The last metasoap said, "You're commenting on a minor aspect, Osak." My point is that when there are flawed studies like this, and you have people like the President of the United States literally citing them as true, I think it's important to attack it. I think it's important to attack it. That's my point.
I think that's a defensible statement.
So do a good one. Stop bitching.
But see, Metasoap, at this point, you're just being, like, snarky for no good reason. You're not really even making arguments. You're just kind of trolling us. If you're trolling us just for trolling's sake, then, well, I guess good job, sort of. If you're, like, expressing some sort of, I don't know.
Can we take a quick step back here? Zach, just so I know for sure, to be entirely sure what you're saying, that you've kind of been through and you've voiced the kind of long-winded, what is your primary point with this?
That
Bear with me here.
that erroneous statistics should not be cited as true.
Okay. Now, MS, in the comment section, and we'll read it off so it can be heard by the audience. Please tell me your main point. Okay, that's the point. Reiterate it to me here so it can be said again.
What's SP? Oh, MS said erroneous stats should not be cited as true. Okay, so we both agree on that. So that's where, well, how this all started is that I or I made I made an offhand comment about the. I was wrong also. I said 1 in 4 rape statistic when we were talking to Eric in that other video, but I meant 1 in 5. 1 in 5 is the actual number, but and Eric mentioned that in his video, and then Metasub commented and said that he was viewing that stat as, or he wasn't taking it seriously or something like that. Yeah,
And I conceded that I hadn't looked into it.
right.
Yeah.
He said
Conceded the
he
point.
hadn't looked into it, and so I stepped in the comment section and explained what the study was and why that happened, and then it sort of started this entire conversation about feminism with Metasoap that led up to that. That was pretty much that was how things evolved to how we got to here.
That's the preface to book 2. That's the preface to book 2. It recaps what happened in book 1, and now we begin the exciting tale of book 2. Or we're kind of in the middle of book 2 now.
Yeah. Feminism has everything to do with Metasoap.
Wait. I want to hear what she means by this. What do you mean by feminism has nothing to do with this? Please explain. Okay, feminism. Can you give it? Act like I'm a 13-year-old here who doesn't understand anything. Give it to me as plainly as you can. Why? Let's see here. Why doesn't it? Because okay, you're saying it's human rights, not women's rights.
Feminism equals chicks are cool, but
Well, actually, oh come on, now the name calling isn't. isn't necessary. I mean, we all know that Eric is Eric
No,
here,
you can
and
call me whatever you want. I don't give a fuck. I don't subscribe to that PC
well,
shit. Call
okay,
me
if he
whatever
likes
you
it,
want.
then good. I mean, Eric's into that, I guess.
What am I being called? Now I'm gonna look. Now I'm gonna look and see what I'm being called here. Dick. I'm kind of a dick sometimes. I was a dick today. I'm actually feeling bad about it. I'm a dick, but I couldn't help it. The neighbors' gardeners were here for like an hour being super, super loud. And I made a video in which I was like, oh, I want to go over there and yell at them, but I'm not going to. I made another video like, should I go over there and yell at them? I'm like, no, I'm not going to do it. But then like after almost an hour, I I didn't make a video of this. I just walked over there. I was like, you guys need to stop this fucking shit. It's after 5 o'clock. You guys have been at it too long. It's too loud.
Oh my God, that you think that's bad? There's we had like all the trees around our house removed a few weeks back, and there's been one guy who's been coming out here every day at like 6:30 in the morning, taking his chainsaw and like cutting out logs and like putting in his truck every day for like hours on end, and it's right beside my fucking room, right beside it. It's fucking it kills me.
Yeah, well, I don't like the noise either, and I had to yell at them.
Now we're back
But the
on
thing is,
identifying Tavis.
the reason why I was being a dick is
That's a stupid
because
topic.
they're the gardeners, and I shouldn't go yell at the gardeners. They're the ones having to do the manual labor. And they're not my gardeners, but they're still the gardeners, and so I yell at them.
How about this? I'm gonna end this video and let Metasoap. We'll just end on this. We both agree that there should be a strive toward political egalitarianism, and we both feel there should be steps taken to actualize that in the most effective way possible. Would you agree with that? Yes, political. Under
What's
the
that
law.
voting and stuff?
Under the law, we should. Oh my God, why
I,
politics?
okay, really quickly, I just posted the exact definition for feminism. I looked it up if you want to read it.
I like
People
my
should have legal
definition, but
rights.
why
That's it.
politics? Because they exist no matter what, whether we try to ignore them or not. They exist and they impact things.
Politics allow discussion.
They should.
They move.
Towards the truth, hopefully.
Yeah. But do you not
They
agree?
create the law.
Do you disagree with the notion that we should strive towards a political egalitarianism? Is that what you're saying?
So yes or no?
Uh,
You don't like being pinned, huh?
It's the
You don't like being pinned
INTP.
on anything. That's freaking straight up INTP. Like, when I don't mind being pinned. It's fine. You can pin me.
Yeah, you like fighting from the pin position.
Yeah.
Uh, well, I'm just gonna wrap this video up and we'll move on because I don't think we're gonna come into
Hi,
any
people.
common agreement or whatever. But um, feminism, so much privilege in
Chicks are
this video.
cool.
Gotta love the topic. You know, it's yeah, it's just
I'm happy
politics,
to,
religion, and food.
yeah, I'm happy to mansplain anytime someone wants to ask me about it. Goodbye.
Okay.